I noted there's a Quinnipiac poll out today. It shows Biden actually leading Donald Trump among registered voters in the state of Wisconsin, a battleground state, 50% planning to vote for him over the 44% for Trump.
So, Megan, there's a new Quinnipiac poll out of Wisconsin today. It finds Biden leading Trump 50-44.
But this one just came out and shows a pretty big jump for Biden.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Up 6 points. Razor-thin margins in the past two elections in Wisconsin. Biden in 2020, Trump in 2016 were the winners, both by 20,000 votes in that neighborhood of 20,000 votes. But now Biden is ahead by 6 in this new Quinnipiac poll. As I said, that is the largest margin that we've seen in Wisconsin polling so far.
You know, it's bad when even Fox News can't help but admit the results of a swing state poll doesn't bode well for their fearless cult leader.
A new Quinnipiac poll shows that the president is now up 6 points in Wisconsin.
The recent Wisconsin poll was a victory for Biden as he won 50% of the 1,447 polls compared to Trump's 44%. This was Biden's biggest ever lead in the battleground state, which is great news for the president as the election nears. The state is key and the Biden won it in 2020, and keeping it in his corner is going to be important as Trump won it in 2016 by only 1%. The Quinnipiac poll was done from May 2nd to May 6th. A day before the testimony from Stormy Daniels in the New York criminal trial, which told the story that Trump's campaign thought would be so damaging prior to the 2016 election that they bought it and buried it illegally. The creepy details, such as the fact that he said she reminded him of his daughter and then proceeded to have sex with her, and the barely, if at all, consensual nature of their sexual interaction, from him promising dinner but opening the door in a robe, their age gap, their power gap. These details sounded so similar to the testimony of the women in the Harvey Weinstein trial. These details are sure to turn off at least some voters in this presidential cycle, which this poll didn't even capture. It's not just in Wisconsin that polls are shifting toward Biden. In the important battleground state of Arizona, a data orbital poll found Biden leading Trump for the first time in 6 months. The lead is small, but shows the weakening of Trump support in this very important state. This poll was conducted on May 7th after the state Supreme Court issued a ruling sending back women's rights over their healthcare and abortion back to the 1800s. Perhaps voters in Arizona didn't appreciate their rights stripping away like that. And if you remember, Trump likes to take credit for the abortion current laws.
Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights, especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade.
The die-hard MAGA voters may not mind how vulnerable these abortion laws make women and their health, and they may not mind that Trump's New York criminal trial is making him look creepy like a possible sex offender and definitely a cheat, but they aren't the voters that matter. Elections are won or lost depending on how many undecided voters turn out for you or how many independent voters swing your way. Those are the types of voters who are turned off by the Trump news coming out, and it makes sense that it is reflected in the polling.
I think the Nikki Haley factor is real. You look at it, Indiana's a small state. By the way, it's Mike Pence's home state. It's a red state, went for Trump in 2016, went for Trump in 2020, 11 electoral votes, so not a huge number there. But still, if he's missing out on 100,000 votes in a state like that, and then 155,000 in Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago, you can't tell me that he doesn't have a problem with Nikki Haley voters.
It's not just the polling that is bad for Trump, but the fact that GOP after GOP primary, voters are turning out and voting for a candidate that isn't even running anymore. The fact is that Nikki Haley this week got 20% of the voters in the GOP Indiana primary, even though she had dropped out months ago. And that is not an anomaly. She also won 16.6% of the GOP primary in the crucial battleground state of Pennsylvania, 26% in the GOP Michigan primary, primary and 18% in the GOP Arizona primary. Those are huge numbers of Republicans making the effort to cast their vote in a way to express their serious opposition to their candidate. And good news for the Biden team is his great polling in Wisconsin didn't even reflect the major project he just announced in Wisconsin. This week, Biden unveiled a new $3.3 billion investment by Microsoft in artificial intelligence, specifically in a data center located in Wisconsin. But it's not just located in Wisconsin, it's located on a plot of land that was empty because of another empty Trump promise.
So Trump attended a groundbreaking here where we are for Foxconn. He promised 13,000 jobs, and only about 1,000 of those actually exist right now. So I know you're promising more than 2,000 union construction jobs and that 100,000 people are going to get trained in AI here. Why should people here believe that you will succeed at creating jobs where Trump failed?
He's never succeeded in creating jobs, and I've never failed. I've created over 15 million jobs since I've been president. 15 million in three and three quarters years. And secondly, Microsoft is a serious player, and they're very much engaged in making sure that they pick this area as sort of the home base for their AI initiative in the nation. And they're gonna do it. And and by the way, well, I shouldn't go into it, but Trump he started off with the golden shovels,
For the groundbreaking here.
For the groundbreaking, and talked about this being, the eighth wonder of the world. When has he ever done anything he said? I'm not being facetious. Think about it. He started off, he lost, other than Herbert Hoover, he's the only other president who lost more jobs than created in his 4-year term. The way he managed the end of his last year when we were dealing with COVID, 1 million people died. He'd tell people inject bleach that may do it. Wasn't a real problem. When he did an interview with one of your colleagues where he just flat out acknowledged he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to speak to it. And look at what he says he's going to do if he gets elected. He says he's going to do away with what I've done on Medicare, reducing the price of Medicare drastically. He said he's going to do away with the Affordable Care Act. He said he's going to do it just down the line. So we have a very different view. I look at it from physician, not being facetious, from a Scranton perspective. He looks at it from Mar-a-Lago perspective. He wants to give more significant tax cuts to the super wealthy. Now we got 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what their average federal tax is? 8.3%. He talks about if I want to raise it to 25%, that would raise $40 billion, $400 billion over 10 years. We can further reduce the deficit, which I've been able to reduce.
Trump is great at saying things, less good about doing things. He had talked about $1 billion investment with Foxconn and even said it would be the, quote, eighth wonder of the world. The land was cleared to make room for this wonder of the world, but his plan never came about because no plan of his actually did, except the one which was his tax cuts for the rich.
So, Peter, this new AI Microsoft thing, $3 billion, big job creators. That's in Racine. Isn't that the same town that Foxconn said, 5-6 years ago, we're going to build a big plant, and they never did?
Yes, and that was a huge Trump announcement back then, and he said that the factory was going to be the eighth wonder of the world, but then Foxconn decided to really scale back their plans, and the land is still available, so Microsoft is going in.
It's going to be good for those people.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
83,500 total jobs left Wisconsin during my predecessor's term. But that's not on my watch. We're determined to turn it around. Thus far, since we've come to office, we've created, and with the governor's overwhelming leadership, we've created over 178,000 jobs in Wisconsin. We're going to create more here in Racine, and big time.
The Microsoft president in his speech with Biden announcing the major new Wisconsin project specifically credited Microsoft's $1 billion investment in Wisconsin to two of Biden's major accomplishments, the infrastructure bill and the CHIPS and Science Act, showing that even in this divisive climate, a serious and experienced public servant like Biden can deliver important and real results for the American people.
If I'm elected, you won't lose one plant. You'll have plants coming into this country. You're going to have jobs again. You won't lose one plant. I promise you that.
The $10 billion Foxconn investment in an LCD plant in Racine County that never arrived. That land remains mostly empty.
Those jobs have left Ohio. They're all coming back. They're all coming back.
A large American factory stopped production today after more than half a century. 1,600 workers at the General Motors plant in Lordstown, Ohio, are affected by this.
It's hard to even fathom that I'm not going to be coming back tomorrow.
No more empty factories that sit there and rot.
Operations at GM's Warren transmission plant end today.
All the people that are left inside know this is their last shift here.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.